Um, Props you could have nearby would be either a wall or a block or two. We're going to start with uh, alternate nostril breathing technique, Nadi Shodhana, which is a great way to help us create a little bit of balance mentally and physically. And then we'll just warm up with a couple of sun salutations, modifying first, which will be great for warming up the front side of our body. We're going to do just a couple of standing balance poses, and then make our way back down onto the mat for a few more things to open up the front body and hopefully be able to fit all that in and get you into at least a Shavasana position by, what is that, 11:10. So find a position that allows for that aligned spine. I'm sitting on a block, which can be useful in just getting your hips a little higher than your knees and providing a little extra support to the knees, but wherever works for you. In a moment, we'll be using our right hand. So just want to go ahead and show you the right hand will be taking the first two fingers and folding them down towards the palm. And then the thumb will be used to close off our right nostril. And then the ring finger will be used to close off the left nostril. And the pinky's just hanging out for fun. So that's what we'll be using this hand for. The other hand can be wherever you'd like that's comfortable. Before we move into that, let's take a moment with eyes either softly focused or maybe even closed. In either case, the eyelids are relaxed. And start to just move your awareness up from your foundation, gradually making your way up to the crown of your head. And as you travel along, you're just checking for areas that need to be readjusted or relaxed. And to find a nice even rhythm of breath in and out through the nose. And I just invite you to let everything go except for this time on your mat with your body, with your breath, with your spirit. With the option of creating an intention for today's practice. And it could be simply about balance in physical, mental, social, activity-wise, whatever you need. And then to seal that intention, you could bring palms together at heart center and gently draw the chin in and down. And then lifting the head back up and softly opening the eyes. So I'll guide you through this if you're new to it. If you have a cold or you're having trouble breathing through your nose today, then you can don't have to do the technique. You can just kind of just stay with your breath. Okay, so go ahead and make the hand position I mentioned earlier, first two fingers folded down towards the palm. And you can go ahead and turn that towards your body. We'll take a couple of rounds of breath together, and then you can follow along. So inhaling through the nose, all the way down, so let the belly expand. And exhaling fully through the nose. Doing that again, fully inhaling and exhaling. On this next one, inhale just like you did with both nostrils. And then close off the right nostril and exhale fully through the left. Inhale through that left nostril. And as you pause, close off the left, open the right nostril, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close off the right, release the left, and exhale. Inhale is also left. Close off the left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Close off right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Close off left. Exhale, right. And you can continue a few more rounds following your rate of breath. Just remember the closing off occurs after the inhalation. I'll finish up the round you're on, and where you'll release both hands is after your next right nostril inhalation. After that right nostril inhalation, you can just relax both hands down and breathe normally. I'll kind of continue to talk about that as we move through it and give you a chance to kind of understand the reasons behind that. But we can listen as we just come into the hands and knees position. If you had a block, you can move it out of the way. And going through a couple rounds of cat-cow. I'll let you do this mostly on your own, but again, just try to synchronize your inhalations with the cow portion and the exhalations with the cat portion. But it can be fun to revisit that breathing technique, and maybe even before you begin, just kind of try to place a hand just under your nostrils and see if you notice if one of them feels predominant. You might feel on your exhalation that maybe your right side, you feel the air more coming out of the right side, meaning your right nostril is more dominant, which controls the left brain. That's your logic side. So if you're trying to do something creative, practicing this technique could help bring some awareness and balance to that right side and help maybe promote some of that creativity that you're looking for. Making your way back to a neutral position, continuing to kind of warm up as we prepare for some sun salutations. Let's walk the hands out into puppy dog and just gradually make your way into a little bit of a stretch through the chest and shoulders by letting the chin and chest sink down. And then lifting your chest up, walking the hands back, and maybe scooting the knees back now, and roll the upper arms away from each other, bringing the chest more broad, lifting your collarbones, untucking the toes, into just a modified upward dog on the knees. And then bend the elbows. If you can just slowly lower, letting those elbows glide by your rib cage, keeping the shoulders in front of your chest away from the floor. Next inhale, lifting the chest again from here, pressing firmly into the front of the legs, the anterior body. Just a side, we're going to kind of focus on stretching today, and then come back down. Walk the hands out just a little bit. Inhale. Maybe use the hands just a little bit as you exhale and twist your gaze a bit toward the left. Inhale to center and exhale, gaze to the right. Come back to center. Release down and take the hands behind you. If available, you can interlace the fingers in one more time, lifting, stretching through the chest, lifting the arms. And then hands under shoulder as you come up, tuck the toes under, realigning the knees under hips. Feet look back, check that they're hip width apart as you lift the knees and scoot the hips up and back into a modified downward dog. I'm focusing on lengthening my spine before I try straightening my knees. And then maybe pedaling it out left and right a couple of times. Keeping some weight in all 10 fingertips to take some of that stress out of the heel of your hand, out of your wrist. And then your expression of downward dog for one more full round of breath. And exhale, we're gonna just walk the feet forward into a very gentle forward fold with feet hip width apart, knees soft, relaxing the upper body. Maybe circle out the wrist and any little movements you want here. Keeping the head heavy like it's a ripe piece of fruit hanging from a tree. And then bend the knees a bit more, keeping the knees back over ankles, not past the toes as you open the arms out and use the arms to bring you to standing. And exhale, bringing hands to heart center. So this first round, I'm going to just add in a couple of things. It's a modified sun salutation with a little extra in there to prepare us for that balance pose, coming up dancer's pose. So let's inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And exhale, soften the knees, open the arms out, and keep that strong aligned spine by engaging those core muscles, front and back body, into that full forward fold. On your inhale, feel free to slide the fingertips as high as you need to keep that aligned spine once more. And then exhale, bring both hands to the mat as you step both feet back. And we're gonna lower the knees into a hands and knees position again. So we're gonna kick that right leg back, toes on the mat, and focus on strengthening and lengthening through that right leg. So strong, tight muscles hugging the bones. And with your gaze on the mat, just in front of you, lift that leg up. And you can point the toe towards the earth and just feel the power of that leg. Make sure you're not rotating. You want to try to keep the hips level, okay, and knees straight, nice. You can stay right there, or you can bend the knee and reach back with the opposite hand. So left hand comes back and around to find the top of your foot. And as you push the foot into the hand with a straight elbow, you might allow the foot and actually entire leg to raise up just a bit. You can also just practice this with the leg only. And we're going to bring that knee down. Switch to the other side. Start first by starting with the leg out behind you, toes tucked under. Just strengthen and lengthen through that whole side. And when you're ready, go ahead and lift the leg up, knee and toes pointing toward the mat. You can stay right there. You can bend the knee. You can lift the leg up from there. Or again, reach around this time with the right hand to find the top of your foot. And then push the foot into the hand as you lift the thigh up just a bit more. Make sure you're still breathing. And then release back to the mat. Nice. Tuck the toes under, lift up the knees, and then shift your weight back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward into plank pose, basically top of a push-up position. Option of lowering the knees first, or just keeping the toes tucked under and coming into a modified upward facing dog here, lengthening the entire body with a smooth curve along the spine, including the neck. And then shift back to plank and downward dog. As you inhale, look between the hands and bring both feet forward. Coming up into that halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, full forward fold, Uttanasana. And then safely inhale, come all the way up to standing where the palms can meet in Utthita Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center, Samastitihi. Full sun salutation A here. Inhale, reach up. Palms meet. Exhale, full forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, shoulders away from ears. Exhale, hands meet the mat, step both feet back. You can always modify like we've done before, or go ahead and lower into your Chaturanga Dandasana. Knees could certainly be down. Inhale into modified or full expression of upward facing dog with tops of the feet pressing into the mat. Thighs are not down in this version. Exhale, start to lift the hips up and back by engaging that front core body and shifting into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Stay here for a couple of rounds of breath, about 5. If you need a deeper rest, you can lower the knees or do puppy dog instead. Exhaling all of your air out. On your inhalation, look between the hands and bring both feet forward into that halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, full forward fold. Uttanasana, chin towards the shins. Inhale, relax the toes, come safely all the way up to standing. Palms meet in Utthita Hastasana, lengthening the tailbone. Exhale, hands to heart center, Samastitihi. Just one more round. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Great way to warm up the front and back body through the sagittal plate. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step it back and lower into Chaturanga Dandasana, shoulders no lower than elbows. Inhale, pressing firmly in tops of feet, outer ankles lifting. An upward dog. And exhale, shift the hips up and back, planting through the feet and downward facing dog, remaining here for a few breaths. Relaxing head and shoulders. Checking as you look back at the feet that the heels are lined up behind the toes, not angled out or in. Take one more full round of breath here and exhale all of that air out. As you inhale, both feet come forward between the hands or your halfway lift. Exhale, full forward fold. Inhale, come all the way to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a moment there, just checking in with your feet. You ground through the 4 corners of each foot and relax the toes. And we're going to move through a modified version of Surya Namaskar B. As you inhale, bend into the knees for Utkatasana. You can keep the hands here this first round or even stretch them out. Make sure knees are not past toes and are in line with hips. We're staying here a little longer for this first one to warm up those lower body muscles. And now as you exhale, take the knees a bit straighter into a full forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step it back and lower. Chaturanga Dandasana. Strong legs, press back through the heels. Inhale, broaden through the collarbones in Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And exhale, draw the abs up and in for Adho Mukha Svanasana. On the right side, to move into a right side lunge, lift the right leg up. Use the belly muscles to pull that knee in and place the foot between your hands as you come to fingertips. Make any adjustments for alignment, including dropping that left hip down, pressing back through that left heel. When you feel steady, using both feet, kind of drawing the inner thighs towards the middle of your mat, you could bring the hands up to heart or by the ears, really warming up the front of that left hip flexor, front of your thigh. Exhale, bring the hands down. We're just going to step back to downward facing dog this time. For the left side, lift it up first. And then knee to chest. And then foot between the hands, making weight bearing and alignment adjustments. And if available, hands can come up to heart, really ensuring that back knee is straight. Option of arms by ears. Still breathing, relaxing the shoulders and the muscles of your face, your jaw. Exhale, hands meet the mat. And once more, we're just going to step back to downward dog. Inhale, shift your weight forward into plank. And we're going to move right into upward facing dog. Again, I'm just kind of playing with this sun salutation B, modifying and just not completing every little detail as we warm it up because it is quite long and we're going to do a full one next. We're in downward facing dog for a couple of breaths here. Reconnect with your breath and your intention. And then on your next inhalation, go ahead and look between the hands and bring both feet forward into that halfway lift. As you exhale, full forward fold. Remember, we've got chair pose. So inhale, bend into the knees. Again, careful with alignment. And then exhale, squeeze the glutes as you come up to standing samastitihi. Okay, we're just going to do one full round of full Surya Namaskar B. If you need to take breaks and modify, please take care of your body. No need to strain and move as fast as I am. Always, if you're watching the replay, hit pause. So from samastitihi, inhale, bend the knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, Uttanasana, full forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands are flat. Step back as you lower into Chaturanga Dandasana. I'm still on that exhale. Inhale, tops of the feet, upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes under for downward facing dog. Right side warrior A, lift the right leg up. Bring that foot forward as you spin that back heel in, lining up the heel with the heel. And when you feel some weight in that back leg, lift the arms up by your ears for Virabhadrasana A. Exhale, hands meet the mat, back foot pivots, and lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhaling, upward dog. Exhaling, downward dog. Inhale, left leg up, comes forward. Virabhadrasana A, spin the back heel in, press into the outer blade of that back foot, scissor the inner thighs towards each other as you bring the arms up. Exhale all the way back to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to stay here for a few rounds of breath on this second downward facing dog. Readjust your weight bearing evenly through hands, fingers, toes, or actually not so much toes, but other parts of your feet. Relaxing your face, connecting with your breath. Exhale all of that air out. And as you inhale, look where you're going. Bring both feet forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana, knees not past toes. Exhale, Samastitihi. Release the hands down, palms facing forward into Tadasana. Just take a few rounds of breath. Calming the breath back down. Okay, nice. We're going to move into dancer's pose with options to stop anywhere along the way. If you have, if you can reach a wall in front of you or beside you, that can be useful. But you can also just remember that it's always safer to come out of the pose than just stay in it and struggle. So bring your hands to your waist and just step your left toes back, keeping the hips squared toward the front edge of your mat. Just feel the weight bearing through that right leg, soften the knee enough so that muscles can help out as needed. And then hands back to heart center. We're just going to hinge at that right hip crease and start to bring the chest a bit forward. If you'd like to, lifting that back leg, toe pointing now towards the mat. And as you do this, you might find that you're kind of rotating. So try to keep the hips level, gaze at the floor. Thinking about chest, pretty much in line with the back leg. Could bring the arms out like airplanes or up by your ears. Still breathing. And then we're going to simply just bring the left foot back to right and hands at heart center. We're just getting used to balancing on one leg with that warrior three variation. So now right toes are back. Start to find and feel roots growing down into the earth beneath that left foot. And when you're ready, again, this time you're going to hinge at the left hip, keeping a strong back leg, toes towards the earth, shoulders away from ears, gaze at the mat somewhere out in front, or I'm sorry, at the floor somewhere out in front of your mat. Arms wherever you'd like them. And then gently come all the way back up to standing. And recenter, find your breath. So as we move toward dancer's pose, you're going to bring your tension weight back into that right leg. And you can even stop with this one as a quad stretch. So that's where a side wall can come in handy. You can watch me first and then join along. But hand can also be on the waist. You're going to bend the right knee and reach back for the top of that foot. If you can't reach it, a strap can be handy or a belt. But you'll notice right now my knee is in front of my other leg. You want to try to bring that back in line with the other as you lengthen the tailbone. Pull the heel in possibly. And that change that I just made, that shift, really drew the stretch where I want it, right at that hip crease, at the hip flexor. You can stay right there, or you can straighten the elbows. You push the foot into that hook of your hand and bring the right arm up by your ear. Keep pushing the foot into the hand. Fix your eyes on something in front of you and start to just lean, and you're really not leaning forward as much as you're reaching up and forward with the right fingertips, pushing up and back with the left foot. Some of you know a deeper expression of this, that's fine. You're breathing. And slowly bring it back. And release the foot down. Take Tadasana, recenter. Find your breath. Ready for the other side. Again, you can always stay with just the first portion. A great quad and hip flexor stretch. So weight bearing through the left foot, relaxing the toes. Keeping the arch of that foot lifted, knee slightly soft. You can bend into the right knee, reach for the top of that foot, and then make those alignments. Shift the thigh back, release the tailbone toward the floor. Maybe draw the heel in more for a moment. And stay with the stretch, or straighten the elbow, push the foot into the hand. Left arm by your ear. As you reach through the fingertips and push through the foot, you're going to have a slight hinge in that right hip. Still breathing. Careful not to let that right knee splay out to the side. Keep it in line as it started with your hip, torso, shoulder. And then gently bring yourself back up to neutral and release the foot and hand, binding you to that. Awesome. If it's feeling a little shaky, not a big deal. By practicing balance, you create balance. So you can always come back to that pose later today. We're going to make our way down to finish up with a few more front body stretches. So reach up with the arms on your inhale. We're going to exhale, fold it forward. Inhale to that halfway lift. We're going to just go back to a forward fold for a minute. Stretching out the back body. Inhale, halfway lift once more. And exhale, just step it back to kind of a downward dog position because we're going to take the knees to the mat. Great. Once the knees are down on the mat, you're going to bring your hands up to your waist. Tops of the feet are down, outer ankles lifting, heels of the hand in the lower back. Elbows in close. We're doing a variation of Ustrasana, camel. So with those elbows in, start to lift the front body up a bit. Keep the thighs forward as your heart lifts to the sky. Lengthen the front of your neck and breathe. Option of reaching down for one or both heels if you feel comfortable with full expression of Ustrasana. But continue to push the thighs forward. Lengthen the lower back. To come out of it, without twisting, you can reach one hand to the sky. Imagine someone pulling you back up. And then release the hands down. As you'll settle back onto your heels, or maybe even between your feet, if that's available. Stretching the plantar flex or the dorsiflexors, the front of your ankles, and rest your hands on your thighs. And then taking fist or hands behind you, just lift the hips up, lengthen the tailbone towards the knee creases, and come back down. Right. Hands are going to walk forward as you come all the way down to your stomach. And for a moment, just turn your head to one side or rest your forehead on your forearms and just feel your body surrendering to the weight of your mat. Right. So we've warmed up the front body pretty well with those previous stretches. If you just want to stay with a little more stretching, then you're going to bring your left hand back, your forearm can stay on the mat. And while drawing that inner thigh towards the midline, you can just push the foot in the hand, kind of like we did in the standing dancer's pose, and stay here. And after a few breaths, switch to the other side. Otherwise, you can move along with me into more of a full expression of Dhanurasana. For that, I'm going to reach both arms back and just lift the chest for a moment to feel the power of that back body. Come down, bend your knees, and reach for the tops of both feet. Thighs are going to stay in line with your hips, so knees are not out to the side. And as we did earlier, pushing the feet into the hands, draw the shoulders back and start to allow the thighs to lift naturally because of how you're pushing into the hands. Careful that you're not looking up. Nice, smooth curve of the spine. Really pushing those feet into your hands and breathing. And as you come down, you can turn your head to the other side if you were doing that. Otherwise, forehead back to the forearms. So next round, you can stay with what we just did, or you can follow me through. We're going to kind of roll over to one side and then the other. This is great for opening up the chest in front of your shoulder. You'll want to make sure that when you do this, you first of all have room on each side of you. And secondly, that if you do roll the side, that you're not landing on your shoulder, you're landing on your upper chest muscles in front of your shoulder. So start in the same position, bend the knees, thighs in, push feet into hands and lift up. And then if you'd like to, keeping that tension, you're going to roll over To your right, again, I'm landing in front of my shoulder and my knees are still hip width apart. I'm pushing my feet into my hands, head off the floor to keep that spinal alignment and feel really nice in the front of your chest. And then keep pushing into the feet as you come back to center. I'm gonna fix my AirPod. And then you're gonna roll to the other side. Feet pressing into hands to come back. For one more lift. And then exhale, releasing. Full deep breaths. Feeling your body fully supported by the mat as you release for another breath. And then making our way into child's pose, you can bring the hands into the shoulders, pressing up through the hands, walking the knees in, and maybe take an extended child pose so the knees will be wider, big toes touching. Slowly shifting your hips back and down toward the ground or a block, walking the hands out, and then tucking the chin, resting your forehead down. Want to shift in traditional child's pose, slide the elbows in so those knees come back in line with your hips. And then bring the arms by your legs with the palms up. Tuck the chin even more so the crown of your head is on the floor. And then the shoulders can just plop. Let go of everything. You can either use your hands for support under the near the shoulders, or just carefully lift yourself up and hips to one side. Bring the legs around. Perfect time to move into a shavasana, but for our time constraints, I'll start to close the class. So find your seated position where you started. Check in again, scanning from your foundation. Bring slowly your awareness up through the body, using your breath to dissolve any remaining tension along the way. Notice any change in how you feel mentally, physically. Was a bit of a challenging class, but did your mind surrender to where you are today? Just meet it with grace. Remembering to create balance. We have to practice balance in small ways wherever maybe it's easy first, and then work up to the more challenging, whether it be in yoga postures or activities or time by yourself versus time with others, and so on. Remember that intention you set as you bring your hands to heart center. You can softly open your eyes. Thank you for taking the time here with me to kind of learn how to evoke that balance, and that I hope the rest of your day feels really balanced. Take care. See you next time.